This is in between spaces.
We are getting to the age where the world is moving very fast and people want things to happen very fast and easier for them. So, as a designer, for example, as a product designer, for example, let's say you have your portfolio or you have a design that you want to go live. In order for that design to go live, you need to get like a front end developer or a back end guy that can help you code it and it goes live. But even as at that, when it goes live and you want to make
Make
changes
any
to it,
tweak. Yeah.
exactly, you have to start reaching out to that girl or that guy that did it for you. And God should not help you. Maybe it's of you fell out or something. Do you understand? So
Maybe.
it's not
Yeah.
as flexible as you want it to be. But I mean, that's where Frame and Webflow and other tools come into play because you have control over what you're doing. You can make it to your taste. You know how we also like how we always say that that developers they are not designing things the way we want.
Yeah.
They're
Now
not
you can design it how
coding
you want it.
exactly. But that's the thing now. That's not the issue. When you start, you now notice that what you were saying was actually like it has some truth to it.
Wow.
So I said low code is evolving and is getting into our native design tools. Canva is a gold mine. And will you believe it if I tell you that Canva has their own low code development tool? So I'll call their own more of no code. So you can actually build a website, build your personal portfolio, build anything you want
But do
on.
they have a screen? Do they have a development like
Yes, they
figure
do.
screen?
They
Wow.
do. They do. They have theirs. Do you understand? Obviously, it's not be as robust as Framer, but people that so imagine like your cousins or your friends that are not designers, but they use Canva to design like maybe social media posts, templates, etc, etc, etc. They can use Canva to build websites now, and like that's the thing. So you have maybe blessed love studios dot canva dot com. Very very simple. Do you know Canva
Yeah.
has approximately 10 times more users than Figma, and they make much more money than Figma. Just so you know. Just so you know.
Hi people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Anytime you are listening to this podcast, this is In Between Spaces podcast, the space for young adults where we talk about experiences, learn from industry experts, and grow together in our personal and professional lives. My name is Blessed Onoha, and as you know, I'm the host on this podcast. On today's episode, we have an amazing, smart, the hitting the drum as I'm introducing.
Very good.
I have an amazing smart designer. His skill cuts across branding and product, both US and UI. He's an amazing designer, and then he's quite skilled with no code tools. I'll allow him do the proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome Chineme Ikoku. Hi, Chineme. Welcome to our podcast. It's so amazing to have you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But before we start, you
Mhm.
completely murdered my son name, Jesus.
Sorry.
Can you just imagine? So, my name is Chineme Ikedion. Ikedion. Yes. Don't listen to what she said initially. That's my name. So yeah, all those things she said. I try my best. But yeah, I'm a designer and product and brand designer basically. Yeah, and I have experience with low code development tools. I mean, it's actually low code because I mean no code. So there's like a big difference between low code and no code. Well, I mean when we start, we'll talk about that. But yeah, that's me.
So nice to have you. And you didn't tell us where you work.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm a designer at InterSwitch Group.
Hmm,
So
nice.
InterSwitch, I mean, in case you don't know, they own Verve, QuickTeller. I think like those are their very popular products, among others, because like they do a lot of stuff, but the popular ones are Verve and QuickTeller. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Neme. I'm so sorry for your name. I'm
I
sorry.
forgive you.
Okay, so guys, today we have Neme on the podcast, and we are going to talk about the big impact of no code. And our major focus will be on Framer and how this can transform your design career. How you can go from 60% good designer to like bad designer. So the topic no code big impact, how tools like Framer can transform your design career. We'll basically hear from Neme today. He has expertise in this area. So quickly, let's just take some questions that will help us get to know Neme more. Um, Neme, what's your favorite no code tool besides Framer?
Besides Framer, wow, that's a
Mm.
tricky question because I mostly use Framer, but well, I like Webflow. Not because like I really use it, but because I mean they were like one of the pioneers for low code tools. I mean, like we have other guys like Wix, WordPress, but like Webflow could do more complex stuff, and it gave more flexibility to designers to be able to build their websites and applications.
Mm. Okay. So, what's one skill you believe every designer should learn in 2024? I mean, the year is coming to an end, but then, yes, let's get that.
Exactly. We have like how many months left? Most likely now it's too late. I'm sorry. I'm just
Oh, well.
joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. So I mean, well, it depends on like the level you are or where you are right now in your design journey. So generally, like the cliche answer would be to say, learn how to code, learn how to use AI. I mean, those are good like answers because the world is evolving and very soon designers would be required to do more other than just design. So having coding knowledge is very important, and also using of AI. So I hear people talking about AI comes to take our jobs, blah 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 blah. I feel the good designers will make AI work for them. So it's just very nice to incorporate AI into our daily design works. But my personal answer to this question would be, I mean, this may sound different, but I mean, designers should be able to learn graphics design basically. So why I'm saying this is because most designers, like on their journey to being a product designer, they mainly focus on the UX aspects. That's the flow and how things work, which is very fine, like which is perfect. But I mean, it's also good to make our designs that work visually appealing to our users. So that's where graphic design comes into play. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be graphic design per se, but things like color theory, typography, and accessibility, like these are very important things I believe every designer should be able to do. Yeah,
That is very smart and very different. Although I had a conversation with someone like 2 weeks ago and he mentioned the same thing.
really.
If yeah, honestly, like he talked about it and he said this is like his personal opinion and he know that a lot of people might not agree with it, but for a product designer, graphics design knowledge, for a product designer and even a software developer, he said both for software developers, like knowledge of graphics design is very important. And yeah, I think that's very valid because if you see those that started out, let's focus on product designers. If you see product designers that were first graphics designers before they transition to products, there is always
Yeah,
there is an
there's
extra layer
difference.
of
Yeah,
yeah
you just
detail
know.
to their job.
You just
Yes.
know. Just know. You just know. And that's not something that product design as like on its own can teach you. You
Yeah.
understand? I mean, it can like by experience, but there's an extra layer of like will I say gold dust that's like you like he that you need to get elsewhere, and that's where graphic design comes into play. I'm not saying that you should be a graphic designer. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But those traits that they have that helps them to be visually appealing. I mean, it's be good for product designers.
Thank you, Neme. Okay, so can you start by explaining what no code tools are and how they've evolved in the design industry?
Okay, so at the start of the podcast, I mentioned something. So there's no code and low code, no and low. Yeah, so I'll just kind of briefly explain it. So basically, like no code tools are tools that we use to create websites or applications without having to write any single line of code. Like It just like name implies, no code. You're not writing any single line of code whatsoever. While low code tools, on the other hand, you can use them to build applications and websites, but you are given the extra option for flexibility of like adding coding inside your designs or inside your development projects. So where this comes, like why this is important is because I mean there's some complex stuff that you will need to do that the tool, that the low code tool or the no code tool can't get for you. Only code can get it for you. You understand? But
Yeah.
I mean, this can sound very like scary because people start saying, do I need to know how to code? Well, because most times you won't actually need it. Like you can do it without it, you understand? But it just depends on some rare occasions where you just need that extra code to help you get what you want. So yeah,
So, an example of a low code tool will be Webflow, right?
yes, yes, exactly, exactly.
Mm. Okay. Thank you for that explanation. So, our next question will be, with so many traditional design tools available, why do you think no code tools like Framer has become so important today? Like, I mean, there are a lot of design tools.
Well, okay, so let me talk about Figma, for example, the one that most product designers use because that's like the most popular product design tool. So the thing with Figma is that when you're designing on Figma, you're like, how will I put it now? Generally speaking, you're like drawing on a piece of paper. Obviously, that's not what you're doing, but I'm not trying to paint it like a scenario here. So when you draw on that piece of paper, you're not taking into consideration like um, different screen sizes, for example. You understand? So I
Yeah.
mean, you can do responsive designs on Figma, but those designs on their own, they're just static. They don't respond to anything. You get? So the way you're doing it on Figma is because like you want the dev to see that okay, well, this is the one for this is how it should be for desktop, this is how it should be for tablet, this is how it should be for mobile or any other breakpoint or any other screen you want to design for. Well, like that's the thing. If coming to a tool like let's say Framer or Webflow, for example, as you're designing for other screens in mind. You can't just say, okay, I want my a rectangle to be maybe 100 pixel wide just because. Do you understand? If you're making it 100 pixel wide, should it be 100 pixel wide on a projector screen? Should it be 100 pixel wide on my phone screen? Should it be 100 pixel wide on a tablet? So all those considerations, that's where tools like Frame and Webflow start coming into play. And also, we are getting to the age where the world is moving very fast, and people want things to happen very fast and easier for them. So, as a designer, for example, as a product designer, for example, let's say you have your portfolio or you have a design that you want to go live. In order for that design to go live, you need to get like a front end developer or a back end guy that can help you code it and it goes live. But even as at that, when it goes live and you want to make
Make
changes to
any
it,
click. Yeah.
exactly, you have to start reaching out to that girl or that guy that did it for you. And God should not help you. Maybe it's of you fell out or something. You have to do you understand? So
Maybe.
it's not
Yeah.
as flexible as you want it to be. But I mean, that's where Frame and Webflow and other tools come into play because you have control over what you're doing. You can make it to your taste. You know how we also like how we always say that that developers they are not designing things the way we want.
Yeah.
They're
Now
not
you can design it how
coding
you want it.
exactly. But that's the thing now. That's not the issue. When you start, you now notice that what they were saying was actually like it has some truth to it. Things are not
Yeah.
just the same. Because if you remember, I said the way you work on Figma, you don't. I mean, only like some. I'm not generalizing here, but designers don't consider different screen sizes and different use cases. But when you're now doing it by yourself here now, you now know that okay, what this guy was saying was true. What this guy was saying. So yeah, that's it.
Big announcement for all of us. Today's podcast is sponsored by Tease. Tell Eve your story. Yes, our first sponsor. What does Tease do? It's a platform where everyone can tell their story. an opportunity for you to tell those dark secrets, for you to tell those happy moments that you've not been able to share with anyone, for you to tell those very sad, painful moments. Tell Eve your story today. Read stories on Eve today. Everyone has a voice. With Eve, we are spreading love and healing one story at a time. So you can check them out on Instagram at Tell Eve Your Story and check them out on Twitter too. Let's get right to it. Okay. So you've been giving us technical answers to like technical stuff. Okay, so I just want to ask, how did you get into design? At what
Oh,
point did you decide you were going to be a designer? Has it been something you had in mind growing up or something inspired it?
okay. Well, my story is actually a funny story. Okay, well, I won't say funny.
Good.
Let me tell you. So, while I was growing up in school, let's start with primary school, for example. I was like always good at arts, drawing, painting. But like then again, I was good at the science stuff, mathematics, further maths, physics, chemistry. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, like, our parents, maybe not everybody, but like most of our parents, like they always believed in more serious sounding professions. I'm saying serious sounding because like they sound serious, but like all those kind of things, you understand, engineer, my engineer, or like you get. So
Yeah.
I mean, so there was more of a push towards the science side of things. That's the engineering side of things. So I mean, when I got to school, that's now secondary school, I was also doing very well in arts. I was like one of the best art students in my class, if not the best. You understand? But like then again, the issue was that I was also doing well in mathematics, in physics, chemistry, and the rest. You understand?
Yeah.
Or so there was a time in secondary school where the curriculum was changed and they added different subjects. So they are called trades. Trades. So those trades could be anything. We had electrical installation, we had animal husbandry, we had fishery, we had painting and decoration and everything. You understand? So you could only choose that like when you get to like SS1. That's senior secondary school.
Yeah.
So I mean, I knew that I was doing science stuff, like the physics stuff. And I knew that that's what I was going to do because of like the conditioning around me, like because of my environment. You understand? But
Yeah.
like deep down, I still wanted to practice my art stuff. You understand? So I now decided to go with. So my trade was now painting and decoration but like it was very weird because most of the people in painting and decoration were people that were not in science class.
Yeah.
So the way it was then, painting and decoration class, there could be like maybe three guys and like 500 girls. You understand? So it was kind of
Yeah.
weird. Obviously not 500 because like the proportion was crazy. So
Mm.
like it was very weird that this science guy was doing personal decoration, and the science guy is not as if he was not doing well in the science. So you understand?
Mm.
But yeah, I kept on doing it just to keep that side alive. You understand? But then when you're coming to university now, all those things like have to drop. Like you have to pick one. So I entered engineering. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked engineering too, but I also liked the art side of things. So I entered Unilag as a mechanical engineer. So I mean, we did engineering stuff. But although there was a course that we did, it was called machine drawing. I would not say it was artistic per se, but it dealt with lines, angles, using like different tools, like different softwares to like draw and create machine parts. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like design in a way, but with calculation and all those things.
It brought you closer to something you've been away for a while.
Exactly, something like that, something like that. But like, don't get me wrong, we did like I struggled with that particular course because I had like I did. So when my mates were doing some other important trades, you understand, I was doing painting and decoration. So like I lacked some like foundational knowledge on the course itself. But the thing with the course is that once you can get your values and your calculations right, The next thing will be for you to like start drawing and creating those parts based on those values you got. Once I could like scale through that first phase of getting those calculations and values right, and the rest was just very easy for me. You understand? So I was still able to balance it. But fast forward to lockdown, because I think this is when most people's like product design journey started in Nigeria. So fast forward to lockdown, we were at home for a while, and I don't know how I stumbled upon it. I think maybe YouTube's algorithm showed me something, and I started watching it, and I liked it. I was like, I can actually do this. And like, this is something that like would really interest me. So I was on YouTube then. So at that point, I didn't know about Figma. Like, I mean, I knew about Figma, but I didn't know that Figma was the most popular tool then. So I was using Adobe XD. So there's Sketch, Adobe XD, and Figma. Like those are like the three biggest players. I now took this course. So there's this Google Design UX certificate course. I'm sure almost everybody knows about that course. So that's like the how will I put it now? Because that course was very like thorough. So it teaches
Yeah,
you
it
about
gives you the step
a
capital.
very good foundation. You understand?
Yeah,
So it teaches you about UX very well. Do you understand? Like it makes your UX very strong and all those things. So like that's how I started. And that's how I get serious about it. And and like one thing with me, I'm a very fast learner. And it's not like I want to learn and I'm desperate to learn it. I learn it very fast. I picked up very fast. So fast forward to before NYSC, I was just really into it. So one of the reasons why I was like really into it was because engineering like wasn't giving me so much joy anymore. You know that
fulfillment.
joy of when you just start school, where you want to be this, you want to be that. I started losing that passion, and I can't say what the exact issue was, but I'm sure it was down to how our education system like was or is. You understand?
Yeah,
So I started drifting away from engineering. I was still good at it though. You understand? I still
yeah,
did well in school and all that, but I was not really like it wasn't giving me that joy that I wanted to do. So I had to double down. I was laying like as if my rent was due. It was crazy that period because let me tell you, I wake up. Let's say I wake up around 7 or 8 because then I'm not going to class anymore now. You
yeah.
understand? I was waiting for NYSC and all those things. I can be on my laptop from like 10 a.m. in the morning to like 7 p.m. At night. The only thing I stand up to get is food, maybe by like 2 p.m. Okay. So that's how I like actually started. Then I became like so the way I learned was it's more of like I won't say trial and error, but yeah, it's like so I mean YouTube is good. It's very perfect. Like it's very, 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 very advisable. But there are some times that like you have to keep YouTube by the side and try to figure out those problems by yourself. You understand? Because like someone may ask that why was I designing from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Do you understand? Like, once you get tired. So that 10 a.m., 7 p.m. now, 4 hours can be, or 5 hours could be trying to figure out the solution to a problem without having to check YouTube. So what that did was help my problem solving skills. And that's like a very like important aspect in design. So that was my journey basically.
I'm glad you got that foundation, but that was like a solid foundation to the amazing works you are doing now in products.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
What's that even? Okay, so what are some common challenges designers like yourself face when learning no code tools? What are some
Um
challenges you face?
okay, I mean, let me group it. You face like two very big challenges. So the first one is the interface. Moving from one interface to the other, it may seem very strange to you and all that. But you don't have to tell yourself that it's just the interface. You understand? It's not as if I don't know how to design anymore because that's how it can be that you start doubting yourself that can I really do this thing? Just tell yourself that it's just the software, it's just the tool. You understand? And like tools will evolve and tools will change and better tools will come out. The one you're using may evolve, it may upgrade, like the way Figma has upgraded now and like things have changed. It's just a tool. Once you have the core design foundation or like core design knowledge, you'll be fine. It's not that big of a deal. And the second one, for designers going into low code, I believe it's the issue of responsive design. That's a very, very, very important aspect of design that many people overlook. Why I say it's because, like I mentioned earlier, you can also be designing for a, let's say, a desktop screen, for example. So as you're designing for that desktop screen on Figma now, you're working with just one size. And to you, that size looks perfect. Do you understand? You've drawn your rectangle, you've drawn your this, you've done your that, you've added your auto layout, and you think you're good to go. Some people go the extra mile of designing for mobile. Then fewer people go the extra mile of designing for tablets. That's on Figma. But they treat it like three separate designs. I mean, they are actually separate designs because there's it's not like a one size fits all. You understand?
Yeah.
But when you're coming to web development now, like with your local tools, you're not just designing for three screens or one screen or two screens. You're designing for any possible screen that that let me use example like that website finds itself in. So here's what I mean. So like let's say you design on your 14-inch laptop. You understand? The way
Yeah.
it's going to look on your 14-inch laptop will not be the same way it look on a 16-inch laptop. It's not be the same way it look on a monitor. It won't be the same way it look on a television. It won't be the same way it look on a projector. You understand? So like these are just differences that you need to consider. Like that's the biggest to me. I feel that's the biggest learning curve when transitioning from your native design tools like Figma to something like Framer or Webflow. So yeah,
So this responsiveness, I think I've noticed it with some people's websites. For some designers that create their portfolio on Framer, when you view it on your desktop screen, like it fills the entire screen, and then when you view it on, let's say, 16 inches Mac, it moves to a part of the screen or something. So responsiveness is very important in Framer.
yes, exactly. It's very, very, very important. Is one of is top two or top three most. In fact, it's top two most important stuff like that you need in web design. I mean, aside the other theories I need to follow, but responsiveness is very, very, very important. Responsiveness, accessibility, and the rest. But responsiveness is very, very up there because you like you may have a beautifully designed website on your laptop, but someone else is seeing it. You're not controlling what that person is seeing, or you're not controlling what that or how that recruiter is viewing your portfolio. You understand? So it may look good on your side, but when the recruiter sees it is scattered or is broken because the recruiter is using a different device that you didn't consider when you were designing, and automatically that means obviously you will not be eligible for that job, even if you have great work. So it's not saying that you're a bad designer, it's just saying that you haven't considered that aspect of design. So yeah.
I have a question though. So if I'm using Framer now and I encounter some of these challenges, I mean, I could always go back to the board and make adjustments. But is there like, are there YouTube channels? How did you overcome some of these challenges? Are there YouTube channels that were helpful? Would you like to recommend them or something?
Yes. So I mean, that's the good thing about the tech world or the internet because there's always someone out there has that issue and has the solution for the problem that you're going through.
Yeah.
So there are different ways aside YouTube. I'll still come to YouTube, but there are other ways. So it'd be nice to be in spaces or communities where the topic about what you're interested in is being spoken about a lot. So, for example, like if you're on Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter, as they always say, it'd be nice to follow and interact with people that use the tool you want to use. I'm saying the tool because you may want to use Framer, you may want to use Webflow, you may want to use WordPress, you may want to use Wix, you may want to use anything, you understand? It
Yeah.
depends on you. So it's always nice to interact with them. And the way these algorithms work is that once you start interacting with maybe two or three, they start suggesting more to you. So you see more content, you digest more content. And why that is also helpful is that you have a wider sense of design. You're not just confined to your region or your environment. So you know how if you're in like let's say Nigeria, for example, that's how we designers work. You understand? But if you go
Yeah.
to like different regions, they have different ways of working. So I mean, and like more often than not, like most times they're the ones that set the trends that the rest of us follow. You understand? So you're early on those trends. You're like early on those design styles, and you can see like find solutions to your problems from those people. You understand? And like you can make design friends that will provide more value for you, like in the long term. But I mean, for YouTube, first things first, it's always good to start with the creators' YouTube page. So, for example, now if you want to learn stuff about Framer or even Figma, the best place to start is Figma's YouTube channel or Framer's YouTube channel or Webflow's YouTube channel. But there's also another guy that I recommend. Um, his name is Nandi, but the YouTube name or his Twitter name is Framer University. So Framer University is very crazy. I mean, he has so
You know, I
many.
follow him on Twitter
Anyway,
too. Okay. And I even turned on his post notification.
exactly, that guy is very good. Just trust me, he's very good. So, and like he's very helpful and very explanatory. I mean, you may not want to really digest his current content now. Like you may need to go back because as time goes on, he's dropping more complex stuff. You understand?
Yes.
And he also has a website so where you can see stuff. You understand? So there's also a Framer community. So I think is just Google search Framer community, so you can like interact with Framer experts there. You can see new stuff that they post. You can see people's problems and how they are solved, etc, etc, etc. So like I mean, you're surrounded by everybody on the internet, so you'll be fine.
Thank you, Neme. Like this was very detailed. I love how you talked about X. I love what Twitter is doing to the tech community because the ability to bond with people you've never met.
Comment, yeah,
They are so happy to help. It's
it's just crazy. It's
it's
amazing.
just really crazy, honestly. They are willing to help. They are willing to even refer you.
Yeah,
It's
they're willing to
really,
give advice. They're willing to critique. Then they're also willing to learn from you, and
yeah,
they're also willing to support you. Understand? So it's just very nice. So like the whole internet is your learning, is like your curriculum, like your book. But it's
yeah.
always nice to have like a structured path to learning. You understand? So that's why I said start from the creators channel or like the creators posts, then start moving to more how will I put it, to more laid out patterns of studies. Like that's then it gets to a point where you've developed your foundation and is now like your creativity takes over or your inquisition takes over. You understand? Then you now start forming your own type of designer that you want to be. But yeah, that's it.
Hmm. So, what trends do you see in the future of no code tools?
What trends? Okay. Well, let me not just limit it to no code. Let me because from what I can see from the conversations that I'm engaged in, from the conversations that I see, I believe like no code is going to start touching other native web, um, native design platforms. So something like Figma. I believe that by 2025 or even end of this year or something like very soon, I don't believe Figma can keep on going without implementing his own web development tool. What I mean is
Yeah.
that imagine you designing on Figma and being able to host it live. Do you understand? I believe
Yes.
that has been a
Instead
long
of
time.
having to move it to
You
any
understand?
of the no code tools. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, I know with time, and with time, I mean very soon, 6 months to like 2 years. I believe that low code is going to start being more rampant and it start taking over our native design tools. So it's been nice for you to start like putting your leg in there and trying to understand how it works and all those things. Then the cliche one, AI. You understand? AI is in everything that we do, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like you can't run away from it. It's always there. But like I said initially, most people are scared that AI will take their jobs. AI will only take the jobs of ordinary designers. No offense, but I mean, as a designer, it's always good to evolve and develop yourself, and it's always good to make those AI tools work for you, make you faster, make you more flexible, give you more insights. I mean, like every month, I'm always learning about a new AI tool. There was this recent one that I learned about, and I started using. I think it was like yesterday. It's called Perplexity.
Okay.
So I mean, it's like their ChatGPT, their Gemini, and the rest. For what is specialized at is research. Like it's crazy for research. You know how back in the day, well, not back in the day, just like maybe a year ago, like 6 months ago, when you're using ChatGPT to do research, you always like you're always warned about references or sources because those sources that they quote may not really exist. Do you
Yeah.
understand? And I've like over the course of time, like I've been able to find that out because I have friends that are into like journalism and writing and all those things. So those their sources, they are very questionable. So notes if you're using any of those things for research, it's always nice to fact check or cross check those references. But with something like Perplexity now, the resources are accurate and it gives you like maybe 2 to 4 resources per question you ask it. Do you understand? It's always linking you back to something. Okay, this is this because of this is this. It will drop the link and to drop the resource. You understand? So that's where it comes into play. Then there's also cloud too. CLAUDE. That one is best for generating code. You know how people say that you can use ChatGPT to code and the rest. I
Yeah.
mean, so this one, like that's his specialty. You can do that stuff, but generating code is his own specialty. So I mean, there are different tools that you need to learn, and these tools would also affect the low code environment. Like even Framer has AI tool now. So I mean, I can just go on Framer. If I don't have idea what I want to do, I can just type. I can type to the AI. Let's say Blessed Onoha wants to create a website that helps people meet the love of their lives.
Why
So
are
when
you like
she,
me?
I'm, I'm, I'm sorry, I could not help it. So when like she types that in, and she also puts that she wants the theme to be pink, she wants it to be very cozy, she wants etc 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 etc. When she puts that, they will generate like a legit landing page for
Which
you
is one of the things
with
Figma
content.
promised to release in this their last
Wait, I thought they
update.
did for a spade.
Okay.
I think
I'm
so.
I'm
I'm not sure.
using what? So I think they are releasing it small small that particular feature because
Yeah, that's true. They didn't release it to everybody, just bit by bit, bit by bit. I mean, Framer has had this since I can remember, since like a year plus now. They've had that. So notes to anybody that's listening to this. If you want to create your portfolio, that's just like a small hack. It's a small cheat to like get you on the way. If you don't have an idea, like maybe you have the idea, but like you don't know how to really visualize it like at first instance. You can just describe the idea to the AI and it generates something for you. Obviously you still need some form of human touch to it to like make it your own. But yeah, that's that's how I see the future of low code and design in general.
I mean like that was so see why I say you are smart because even at the
You don't
even
start.
as you were saying it, like I had to, like I feel like that was so exciting. Thank you very
Thank you.
very much. Aside the part where you talked about Bless opening a website, think
As if
about
you do not like it. I'm sure you wrote it down. I'm sure you wrote it down.
think
As if
about it.
you,
That was a smart idea. I could actually do that.
you get yes.
Okay, so what advice would you give a designer that is just starting their career? What advice would you give your 3 years ago
Yeah,
self?
old self. I
Yeah.
mean, so as a designer starting out, it's very good to nail the foundation or the basics of design. So by this, I'm not saying you should jump into logo tools like right off. You need like it's like a journey. There's some steps that you need to take before you get to like certain places in your career. So the first step is learning why you want to design in the first place. The
Mm,
whole idea behind design. A good place to start would be taking courses on Coursera or Udemy or LinkedIn to just give you that pathway, that roadmap. Yes, the word is roadmap. Yes, that roadmap. So that'll be very nice. And as you're learning, like with the roadmap, so most of those roadmaps they give you very strong UX knowledge. But me personally, because most designers say learn UX first, the rest will come. I mean, that's not what me I think. Me, I believe you should learn them hand in hand. Learn UI and learn UX together. because they go hand in hand. I mean, you want to create products that work, yes, but you also need them to be visually appealing. You also need to
Yeah.
stand out. You also need to have that touch. You understand? So I believe they go hand in hand. Yeah. So learn UX, learn UI, have a structured roadmap, take things step by step, and practice, 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 practice. Don't just be watching tutorials. Try and do something. That's the best way to learn, to be honest. Practice, make mistakes, try stuff, make errors, work on your problem solving skills while you're trying to figure out what went wrong. And also have someone that checks you, have someone that you speak to that helps you know if you're on the right track, and share your work out there, even though it's ugly. Funny enough, on my Twitter, my design post that had the most interaction was the ugliest one. So what I did then was I just had like a wireframe of some sorts on Figma. Just rubbish, ugly. Well, it's not rubbish because it's part of the process, but like ugly drawings and all those things. I was seeing, I don't know how many likes that thing had, but I know that's the because I've done crazy stuff since then, and but that one that was very very somehow. So because like most people like a come up story, they like seeing your journey. You
Yeah.
understand? So just put yourself out there, and you'll be fine.
Thank you. People like to see process, not just coming off to say, oh, so this is who I am now. There is this fear of, which is not valid. There is this crazy fear of, oh, they are going to see how I don't know this. Oh, they are going to say, oh, she really does not know
What do people
anything.
say?
What will people say? But no, that is not important. Like I feel on the long run, what personally I'm even learning is understanding that it's okay if this is what you know right now. It's
Yeah,
okay if people see that this is what you know right now. You are smart for knowing it.
yeah,
There are people that don't know it. So put it out there, keep improving. I feel like putting it out there self makes you keep improving. That's one big thing I've learned with this podcast. There have been a lot of low moments, but then there have also been very high moments. And I'm like, wow, it's truly a learning curve. But
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but you said that fear
Mm,
or that worry is not valid. Me, I feel it's valid because in the end, in as much as we try to say all these things, do this, do that, we're all humans in the first place. You understand? So
yeah.
having that anxiety and that fear of people bashing you is very valid. I mean, it's okay to have that, but that's the thing. If you have to realize that it's okay to have that, like for you to be able to like cross over it. Do you understand? Because if you keep telling yourself that a bad person for thinking that people will laugh at me when I post this, I mean you're just making it harder for yourself. Once you can accept that, I feel like that's the first step to saying that okay, well, this is happening to me. And I believe that people that want to criticize me, they also started from somewhere. Because nobody started great. Somebody just fell down from the sky and was 20 years old. We are all small children initially. Do you understand?
Mhm.
Even like like someone that is criticizing you in the eyes of another designer or someone else, the person is still like a newbie. Do you
Yeah.
understand? So everybody went through that phase. Everybody's still going through that phase. Even the great designers, they still have that moments where they feel like frauds, which is okay. Just how you pick yourself up and get out from it.
Hmm. So down to our last question. What's the favorite project you've built using no code tool?
Hmm. Favorite. Favorite. Okay. I'll say my personal portfolio because it's more
Mm,
personal. Like it was a personal um aspect for me. And why is my favorite? Because it was like my first major work with local tool. So I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm sure if I check that thing now, I'll still see those mistakes. Do you understand?
yeah.
But and it took me like how many months before I could even like publish it live. So I know like the first one is always like the one that sticks closely to you because like that's where like you had started becoming strong. Like that's where you actually grow. And it's your personal site, so you're allowed to make it feel the way you want it to feel. You're not working for a client that wants something to be this way. This personal site is your own. Like nobody can take it away from you.
You're
So
allowed to
yeah,
make it feel like you.
exactly. Do you understand? So I mean, so someone like you now, if you're doing your own will
Neme.
be probably pink, white, love signs, etc, butterflies.
I'm a preacher of love, but it's not even like I wear pink.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Wow.
But
Okay.
yeah, that's my favorite. Like that's my favorite project. Yes, yes, yes.
You guys, Neme has been quite smart and he laid a lot of cards on this table today. And I really appreciate it, Neme. Like personally, I learned a lot from listening to you talk. And I know from the depth of my heart that we are going to have you again on this podcast because one thing I've noticed
Mhm.
about you and your design is giving I'm not following the conventional pattern. I'm trying to make a path. I'm trying to create my own niche. I'm trying to create my own I have my own roadmap and I'm trying to make my own stuff. And I feel that's something a bit rare among young adults these days and even in the design space. There is a lot of following what is already existing. And following what is already existing is not bad, but the courage to see what is existing and see beyond that to see what can actually exist on top of what is already existing. I feel like that is courage and that is really great. I look forward to the amazing things you are going to be building in future. And we are so excited and grateful to have you on this podcast. This is In Between Spaces. Dear listeners, if you have any questions or you have any feedback, please send it to our comment section and you can connect with us on Instagram and on Twitter too at IBS Podcast. Neme, please, where can our listeners connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me on Twitter, but note, I don't, I don't, I don't post any design stuff on my Twitter. So note. So if you're a Barca fan, you're probably not like my Twitter because I'm a Madrid fan. Yeah.
Hmm.
So just put that at the back of your mind. But yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So my Twitter is should I call it out?
Yes, please.
Chineme04. So CHINEME 04. No space, no underscore, no nothing. Yes, that's me.
Okay. So I'll add it as a link to this episode too. You guys, till next time, it's been an amazing journey. Neme, do you have any can promote this podcast? Mhm.
Okay, well, you guys should follow in between spaces. I mean, she's doing very great stuff. Aside being a love doctor, she also interviews and talks to industry experts in different, not just designers, so product managers, etc, etc, etc. So I mean, you could find something interesting that will catch your attention. I'll make you a long-term listener. And she's really putting in a lot of work into this. I know firsthand because I will not say it. Yeah.
Better. Thank you. You guys, till next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
So, yes, hold on. There's an extra part to this podcast. Get in. Let's have this quick gist. Okay, so let's have it.
Okay, so there's this short story I want to give, and it's leading me somewhere. And blessed, you're the main character in the story.
Wow.
So, um, I said low code is evolving and is getting into many like into our native design tools. So rewind back to a period when Bless wanted to make these podcasts like where she wanted to take it to greater heights. I mean, she still wants to. So she was looking for designs for teams, etc, 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 etc. I suggested Canva, and her first reaction was to laugh, or she was shocked. That why am I suggesting Canva? That's the designer that she doesn't feel like she can be using Canva. But guys, Canva is very, very, very good. Canva is a gold mine, and will you believe it if I tell you that Canva has their own low code development tool? So I'll call their own more of no code. So you can actually build a website, build your personal portfolio, build anything you want
But do
on.
they have a screen? Do they have a development like
Yes, they
figure
do.
screen?
They
Wow.
do. They do. They have theirs. Do you understand? Obviously, it's not be as robust as Framer, but people that so imagine like your cousins or your friends that are not designers, but they use Canva to design like maybe social media posts, templates, etc, etc, etc. They can use Canva to build websites now, and like that's the thing. So you have maybe blessed love studios dot canva dot com or however like theirs is what they actually have. So it was part of the new like what they call it, new upgrades that they made earlier this year. So
Hmm.
yes.
And you had to break. See, this blessed love studio, it actually
See,
has to work. I have to
you
sit
have
down
to
and
upgrade that thing, start that thing, because many Nigerians are looking for love. I have many friends that are looking for love. I will not name names, but if they hear this podcast, they'll know themselves. I have many friends that are looking for love. So I mean, that'll be a nice place to start. You have everything to start. You have the podcast experience, you have the website experience. You only just start matchmaking, and many people will be grateful for this.
well. All I can say is I feel Canva doesn't get the credit enough, and I'm part of the people that don't give them enough credits. I apologize, dear Canva. You are doing amazing. But I think after you said that stuff, I had to go and try out Canva. And I think one thing with Canva is this simplicity, like their
Yes.
usage. I think that's
Drag
their
and drop.
selling point.
Very, very simple. Do you know Canva
Yeah.
has approximately 10 times more users than Figma, and they make much more money than Figma. Just so you know. Just so you know.
Yeah.
And I'm saying Canva not because like I'm a bad designer or I'm lazy. Like I use Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, After Effects, and the rest. But Canva is actually really good. You guys should check it out.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.